everyone, my name is Iris France, and today I want to talk about trade can make everyone better off and why is that the recent political rhetoric is anti-international trade. So I want you to close your eyes and imagine a world where you don't trade. So if you don't trade, that means you will have to consume whatever you produce, which means you will have to milk your own cow in your backyard, you will have to grow your own food, you will have to cut your own hair, and you will have to walk everywhere. Because I bet you don't know how to make a car engine and you don't know how to make a bike. So imagine, I'm living in Houston, Texas. I have to walk everywhere. So you can imagine that would be very inefficient. What would be much more efficient is this. If I focus on one job, then I have a comparative advantage. So for example, I'm an economics teacher. It's better for me to hold this teacher job, bring home a paycheck, and use this paycheck to buy all the items that I use every day. And the same principle applies to international trade. So in the United States, we have a comparative advantage in the production of aircraft and pharmaceutical products. And we also have comparative disadvantage in the production of, say, shoes and clothes. And why is that? Typically, that's because we have very highly educated workers. So for example, if you have your worker has a master in mechanical engineering, then it wouldn't make sense for this person to produce shoes because the opportunity cost of producing these shoes is a very high-paying job making aircraft for this guy that has a master in mechanical engineering. So it wouldn't make economic sense. And therefore, for the United States, it's better that we focus on the good that we have comparative advantage, like aircraft or pharmaceutical products, and export these products. And then in return, we're going to import shoes and clothes from, say, China or India. So you would think if trade is so good and benefits everyone, why is that the current policymakers, they are against trade? They impose tariff on goods from China, and they're complaining the deal from China is quote-unquote lousy. Why is that? So I made an example to illustrate that. So I heard a saying from two Germans, and this saying is that Germans cannot make cheese and the French cannot make sausages. And we know that Germans, they actually can make cheese and the French can also make sausages. So the saying really means is that Germans are really, really good at making sausages. Germans make really good sausages and French make really good cheese. So imagine 200 or 100 years ago, before there was common market in Europe, and when goods went across the border, you will have to pay tariff. Meaning, if you're a German consumer, you want to buy French cheese. Yes, you can buy it, you can import French cheese, but you will have to pay tariff to the German government. And likewise, the French consumers, they can purchase very delicious German sausages. But in order to do that, the French consumers will also have to pay a tariff to the French government. So, suppose now we're going to lift up the trade barrier and take away all the tariffs. Do you think everyone will be happy? Well, the truth is that most of the people will be happy, but some people will be unhappy. So let's take a look. We have 6 key players. We have German consumers, French consumers, and we have German cheese makers, German sausage makers, and we have French cheese makers and French sausage makers. So we can see who will be happy. First of all, consumers will be very happy because both of them can now enjoy very delicious German sausages and French cheese without paying any tariff. So we can see German and French consumers are the winners, so they're happy with a tongue sticking outside because of the yummy food, so they're happy. What about the German sausage makers? They're also very happy because now they can feel free to sell their sausages not only to German consumers but also to French consumers. So they make a lot of money, they're happy. Same as the French cheese makers, they're also happy. Now, who is unhappy? Well, that would be the German cheese makers. They're unhappy. And also the French sausage makers, they're also unhappy. So what's the similarity between these two, the German cheese makers and the French sausage makers? They are both the import competing industry. So they're the one getting hurt and they're not happy and they prefer to have trade barriers. And these two groups of people, the German cheese makers and French sausage makers, they are similar to today's steel makers in the United States. Because when we import steel from abroad, then our steel makers and the laborers, they are getting hurt. So they are the one who will prefer to have trade barrier, and if they are the voters of the current policy maker, to please these voters, the current policy maker will try to set up more trade barriers to please these voters. And there will be a danger for this trade war, because think about this, if we impose tariff on imports, then our trade partners are not going to just sit there and let us punch them. They will punch back. They're going to set up trade barrier against us too. So that's going to hurt our export industry. So for example, now China, if they want to retaliate against our tariffs, they will say, we're not going to buy aircraft from Boeing anymore. We're going to buy that from Airbus. So you can see trade war is actually a bad thing, because if you don't buy things from me and I don't buy things from you, we don't trade, then we're going back to this world where we don't trade. You have to consume whatever you produce. The outcome will be inefficient. So I hope this helps you to understand why trade in general makes everyone better off, and why is that, since trade is so good, why is that we're anti-international trade? Well, there's political economy reason. So I hope this helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.